Well, hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Momcult Podcast. I am Joy Todd.
I'm Sarah Parker Massey.
And I'm Jenny Weisblock.
Oh, my goodness. Jeannie's back.
This is an after the episode.
Well, Jen, how is your week? Anything?
Oh, yeah. So I got to speak at the Chamber of Commerce this
Fancy.
past week.
Wow.
And every time I'm asked to go somewhere, I never know. I mean, sometimes it's weird things, like I'm in a boardroom with 3 other people, and I've prepared for, like, our whole company's coming.
Right.
And then other times I'm like, oh, I want to do these group games with these kids, and 100 come in.
Right.
So I never, the environments are always so different. And people want me to have like slideshows and stuff, which I used to do in the beginning, but they became such a pain. Mm-hmm. Somebody didn't have the right hookup, and there's all this stress about if it's going to work, and then half the times I wouldn't, because every place has different technology, whatever. Okay. So now it's just me. I don't know how much longer that's going to last. So it's just me. I just show up and I have in my mind, well, if it's this many people, we'll do this, and if it's this many, but then you get with a room of people and they're totally different. They bring something. So I really love the work because it's never the same, and that keeps me on my toes. So I'm always, it's like improv.
Right.
I am always sort of like, okay, how's it going to be? And learning sort of to trust myself and trust people more. So it was about 50 people, and I had 25 minutes. And that's the least amount of time anyone can ever give me to do anything.
Right.
So I just had to look at them and go, I wanted them to leave that 25 minutes with something. And so I just had to sit there and like study them and be like, okay, what is it? What is the thing that I'm supposed to tell this group of people? So the thing I'm having the most fun talking about is understanding that we live in 2 different realities, and that there are things that we need to do to care for ourselves in each of those realities that is not just different from the other reality, but sometimes even the opposite. And so we have this like world of this reality of being a human it's looking different than it's ever looked before. Mm-hmm. It was so fun. I loved it. I loved the people I met. I hope I get to talk there more.
That's super cool.
I mean, I'd like to know what you told them, but I guess we'll have to wait till next time.
I was like, Jenny, it's not time yet.
It's not time yet. It's not time.
Have I never done that talk for you?
Oh, I don't know. I blocked it probably.
The media trauma talk?
Well, no. It's like I said, there's like a different thing I come up with based on whatever group of people I'm with, but it is a consistent one.
Okay.
It's like basically self-care in 2 different realities.
Right. No, but I do want to hear it sometime. Well, I figured I have to give an update on my thumb since I talked about it in Caroline's episode, which I was listening back to. It was just like, shut up. I can't tell you how many times I'm editing these, and I will either edit out like an entire paragraph of something I said. I'm like, no one cares.
I told my kids, I was like, so Joy's got a numb thumb, and everybody just died laughing. That's all. We never said anything else about it.
Well, I can say to everyone that's been worried and who's been praying for me, my thumb feeling is back. I still have a little bit of neck shoulder pain that I just can't, I don't have like full freedom of movement. Other than that, Penny pooped in her little baby potty for the first time today, so that was exciting.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
My first turd.
Yay.
And Dad was there. Dad visited Ava's school this morning and taught in her art class this morning.
Aww.
And then came over to the house, and then Penny pooped for both of us.
Moment.
It was a great father-daughter, granddaughter moment we had.
Well, Mom and I, we were talking on the drive over here, and I was like, Dad, you've got to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Every single elementary school needs an art teacher to come and give a lesson, and you need that. So we need to, he cannot not do that. Right. It has to happen.
It's our job now.
Yes. No, all you have to do is every time he starts talking about any conspiracy theory, you just say,
go teach some kids.
Yeah, I've got a number for you. I called her. It's Tuesday.
Here's school. Here's your date. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Shoo-shoo. Don't worry about China. Just go. Go.
These children, they're the future.
These children
go talk to them.
You
want to change the world? One child at a time. Go.
Sarah, you got an update?
Parker for weeks has been saying to me, let's see, one day I had my ponytail like lower, like low on the back of my neck. And I guess he liked it. And then when I would put it up high, he would say, Mom, put your ponytail lower. Put it lower. And he like puts his hand up and then like lower. And I'm like, okay, so I think that's funny that he's telling me what to do with my hair. And so I'll usually do it. And then if my hair's wet, I'm like, well, I don't need to put it in a ponytail right now because that messes it up, whatever.
Conversations you never thought you'd have in your life.
He's real like particular, which, yeah, so am I. So I get it. And then yesterday I got my hair cut and blown out. And I don't know if that's the first time he's seen it that way. Definitely maybe since he's like been aware of my hair. But you would think, like, by the way he was treating me, that I was like, I was trying to think of how to say something like that made sense. But like, I was made of like pizza and his favorite shows. Like he was like, wow, like really into it. And at first I was like, oh, he's like being extra like affectionate. And then when we were putting him down, Eric goes to Eric starts bedtime. He does the bath and he starts bedtime and then I finish bedtime. So when I came up, he was like, he touched my hair and what did he say? I want to get it right. Touched my hair at bedtime and said, whoa, it's super good. Your hair's super good. And he was like touching it. And I was like, well, he can be like kind of, honestly, like most of the time, he's a very sweet boy, but he can be like, don't touch me, like a lot of the time. Yeah. And there was zero of that. And then I go, oh God, this is about my hair. And I go, can I have a kiss? And then he immediately like gave me, never is like that. He was like, lay next to me in my bed. Like, let's play. Look, it's like a pool. It's like, he was like nervous.
See, on a first date.
He was real like, and I'm not like, he wasn't like flirty, like weird. It was just like, obviously he's 3, but it was like, he was so just enamored. And I was like, am I being objectified by this 3-year-old?
What's happening?
And also like, what are you thinking of me normally?
Right.
So because my hair is curly naturally.
You finally cleaned up for him.
Yeah, and actually you heard in this episode, Caroline say, well, oh, your hair. And it's like, that's what he's thinking. And I'm getting just a lot of feedback about my appearance from everybody.
So funny.
Let's see. With this carrot, what did I say? Oh, yeah, like, would he be kinder? Like, if I always was looking like... And you just, I mean, naturally, I get that you look more pulled together, or I look more pulled together when my hair is straight, which, you know this, Jenny, because you have the recent curly hair. You're dealing with this. Although your hair is straighter than mine is.
Yeah, it seems like it's calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
today.
I mean, it's very weather. No, I mean, and we're not going to talk about it.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, but when I was writing my check-in, I thought, I really would like to know if you, Momcult, have had this experience, like write in the comments or DM us. I really am like, am I alone in this? Is this just my like strange child? Or is it, and has anybody else been like, wow, you look really great. I really like you and want you around me a lot more when your hair is done. And if you could really work on that for me, that would be great.
Our relationship would be a whole lot smoother.
Right. Well,
yeah, like my hair at the time.
The thing is, you can't, it's so pure. He's 3.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, that's even worse.
Like, right. It's not like you should.
No filter.
You look better.
No. That's not it. I like you more. I like you more when you look better.
Oh, and I mean, this just is an aside. Sorry, but like this morning when I went to get, my hair was still pretty straight before I went to do yoga, and at the coffee shop, like 3 people talked. It was like more people, and I was like, "What is this? Is this the universe saying this? I can't do that every day. I don't know what to tell y'all, but
it's not going to happen."
No.
But also, I don't think you could handle that kind of attention, Sarah.
Oh yeah,
you'd be surprised. You want to know how give Parker 3 days of that kind of come lay next to me, and you would just be like,
leave me alone.
You'd be the one. Yeah. Just like give mommy some space.
Yeah, it's like normally though he wants me next to him, but also like not being like so sweet. Anyway, okay, that's it. So
that's really good.
That was great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good job. Good check-in. All right, Jen.
Okay, I have so much to say about Caroline. First of all, she is probably the person I've been dying to meet the most of any guest that you've ever had. She's going to love
that when she hears it.
So I have been, I've known about Caroline since you started acting lessons, and almost instantly you were like, you've got to meet Caroline. Like, you have to meet her. I've talked to people about what she does in acting class. So I hear lots of good stories. And then here we go.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't even know what to call him. We had this. Okay, so I was sitting at a coffee shop and talking to one of my friends who works there, and she was helping me find a back for my earring that had fallen off. And Adam walked in, and I was so happy to see him, and he was so happy to see me. And I was like, Tess, Adam, do you guys know each other? And they were like, no. And I was like, Adam, Tess works here. Tess, Adam is. I just kind of looked at him, and I was like, he is the father of my children. And Tess is just standing there like she knows there's something off, and she's like, really? Is he really the father of your kids? Congratulations. I was like, oh, he is. And then this is going to make me cry. Oh. And then I said, oh, and he was my high school sweetheart. And I just looked at him and I was like, you're always going to be my high school sweetheart. Like that won't ever change. So anyway, and then it was a really sweet moment. But anyway, Adam started taking Caroline's class, I mean, almost right after we separated. I
Yeah,
think.
because he was looking for, like, he's reforming his life. So
right.
And I was like, just come audit a class.
So he did. So anyway, then I got to hear about Caroline from Adam.
Right.
And then super fun, big reveal is that Caroline did forensics in high school and she and Adam competed. So it's just, I'm just like, I cannot wait to meet her. So I was so excited that she was going to be on the podcast. And I, of course, just am dying to meet her even more, even though that wasn't even possible after hearing her interview. So
does everybody know what forensics is? I didn't know until I moved here.
Probably not.
It's sort of like debate, right? But not.
It's really acting competition.
Yeah. But debate is a big part of it.
Yeah.
There's like different categories: debate, poetry, drama, comedy, all the things. But it really is. I'm still waiting for somebody to. I guess we'll do a documentary.
I know.
on it, 'cause I'm waiting for somebody to do a documentary
You're right,
on it.
Joy.
It's like a whole different planet. It's weird.
We who else would do it?
Adam
And Brandon. Right. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to find people who have more information and also access to the film world.
True.
I want to see that. Yeah.
It's going to be, it's going on my list.
Cool. 2026, guys. Summer 2026.
A lot of people who think that it's true crime.
Okay.
So disappointing.
Well, I feel like I've already talked a lot. So y'all tell me some of the things that stick out to you from your...
I think something I was thinking about after talking with Caroline, because we don't get much time to talk in class, but we do have kids that are very similar in age. And so it was just nice sharing similar frustrations. And I don't know, I just gave myself an analogy of kind of the lifespan of being a parent. And I was thinking about it as two magnets. And so every phase of life, those magnets are going to be facing in different directions. So that, at certain parts of me and Ava's relationship, we're both going to, the positive end's going to be facing each other, and we're going to be like super in sync. And then there's just going to be phases where they're face the opposite and we're repelling each other. And just feeling like right now, I think I'm having a hard time with the guilt I feel. She's not repelling me yet. That's coming. I'm repelling her.
Right.
Like I am like, go do something else. Go play with friends. Go do this thing. I'll just feel so much guilt for feeling like she still has that desire to want to share and do these things with me, which is great. It's just not just that. If it were just that, that would be fine. But it's met with all this other kind of resistance and attitude. And anyway, I don't know.
I love that analogy. And it makes me think of when I was telling you about the life cycle of the family in the last episode. That's a better way of describing it. That's when your development as a person and in a growing relationship is going to have seasons of attraction. And it's really, I think it was Henry Nouwen that says that intimacy is a dance of closeness and distance. And that we typically think of intimacy only as being close.
Right. Distance is bad.
And the distance, right? That like, you think of the dance, and when you pull back, what that allows the other person, how they can move, and then you pull back in, and then you have
also,
space.
The distance for me, like just you saying that, I'm thinking when you're in a dance and you distance, that's really the only time you're actually getting to observe the other person and take them in as a separate entity than yourself. But also,
which between mothers and daughters is like a lifetime's work, right?
But I also sometimes I'll just sit there and be like, I want to miss you. I want to have the feeling of sitting here and going, you know what? I want to go hang out with Ava right now. I want to see what she's up to. I want to, and I just don't get that feeling very often. Mm-hmm. And then that makes me feel
So you should
horrible.
probably break up.
I think we should break up. Yeah. But what I'm most scared about is that by the time I do feel that, I won't be able to get her.
Right.
Because she'll be off in her
what'll
own
happen.
world. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, cool.
No, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but yeah.
I so relate to that. I remember that so well. And I just got this book that Megan, our sister-in-law, told me about. It's called Everything is Here to Help You. And it talks about when we start having friction in relationships and what all is happening in that, and just the importance of space, of letting everybody have their space. And sometimes for you, it would be you need some more space because something's happening in you that you don't have enough room for that. But he keeps talking about it like we think of those things as being problems in relationships. And really the problem is that we don't respond. We don't think it's right. And so we don't let it have what it needs to what he would say is evolve. Like she's evolving, you're evolving.
Right. It's just growth.
Anyway, I highly recommend the book.
This is happening for you, not to you. What's it called?
Everything is Here to Help You.
Everything is Here to Help You.
That's your book. Yeah.
Momcult, it's an ad. When you need a quick weeknight dinner, look no further than our friends at Mr. Aaron's Goods. You can get 25% off your order on MrAaronsGoods.com. They offer free delivery in East Nashville on Saturdays, and you can pick up Monday through Friday at TKO in East Nashville. But what Mr. Aaron's Goods does best is pastas, bagels, homemade baked goods, insane pasta sauces. Get them. Use code MOMCULT at checkout for 25% off. Locally owned, family operated in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, so what about you? What were your thoughts?
I thought about our interaction. I felt like she was, I know that she listens, so I felt like she was very hard on herself. I took that away. I mean, that's just my memory of it in different scenarios, thinking about how she handled certain situations and feeling badly about those, you know what I mean? And I haven't reached out to say, you're doing a good job, but I'm going to.
Tell her right now.
You're doing a great job. Yes,
She's not giving herself any more hard time than you give yourself.
I was gonna. That's a Joy. Joy and I are sitting there like, wow. Okay.
Interesting words leaving your mouth right now.
Right.
Yeah, it's easier to say that.
No, this is actually that's the whole thing of that book is that you pick up on those other things from other people that are for you.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're doing great.
Okay, so Caroline's son is 11 and has that super cute name. Denton. Adorable. So the whole holidays, like I'm really impressed with that. Parents who can, and that's like the dream, right? If your parents are going to get divorced, the best case scenario is that the parents are both like, what does the kid need? We're going to give the kid what the kid needs. And I love that they're able to do that, to spend holidays together. And I think that's amazing. And I did feel like she was kind of being hard on herself about that. Like, oh, I need to be more clear about boundaries or whatever. And just being like, my gosh, it's all so messy. Mm-hmm. It's so messy. Just that you could have any good moment is like, way to go. look, we made a good moment happen. So we got, Adam and I got separated, I guess, a year and a half ago. Last Christmas was our first Christmas that we were all separated. But that didn't happen. My kids were 20 and 22 when we got separated. And I think that I don't even think the divorce was an option in my mind when my kids lived at home. I don't think that ever, I mean, I didn't know it was ever an option at all, but I just wasn't. I couldn't. We had such a good family dynamic, and I don't know. We were just the four of us. It was like so much of our marriage was our family, right? We'd been together a while, and we had this incredible relationship and dynamic between the four of us. And then when they left home, it sort of was like, oh, which this happens all the time, of like, oh, we had built our relationship and our intimacy on the four of us together. And I don't know, people have all different opinions of when is it better for kids when your parents get divorced, and it's probably like, what age is anybody going to say that was the best age, right? It's all hard and all bad for different reasons. So last Christmas, we basically, were the same. Like the kids came home from their various places that they lived. Adam came and we had Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, and we were the four of us. And it was the strangest, like there was this moment we were sitting in the living room, and I would have this voice in the back of my head being like, I thought I left. I thought we got separated. I thought, almost like these weird moments of, did we not have that conversation?
Right. Was this all a dream?
Right. Yes, exactly. I remember Avery walking out of her room and being like, hey guys, so your dad and I are getting separated. Like it was so surreal how exactly the same everything was, and exactly the same that I felt the same way inside. Like I had the same feeling of, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And yet all of us at the end of that time were like, we can't do that again. Mm-hmm. Like it was too much. It was too painful to be all together and to do all the same things, knowing that everything has changed, right? The kids were going to get on their flights and leave. Adam and I were going to go back in our separate houses. And it was just not like we were pretending, but it was like, it was painful in a totally different way, which I'm just starting to learn is like, God, some pain is so worth it. It's just so worth it. So then we just had this past Christmas where Adam's engaged. He's with his new fiance. She has kids. So they're having their own new Christmas. Like there was no way on the planet. It's not even an option for the four of us to be together. So it was,
which is a whole new kind of grief.
It's a whole new kind of grief, but all four of us, well, I don't know about Adam, but the kids and I were like, thank God we had last Christmas. Like we didn't, like if we had tried to get out of the discomfort of that time, we would have missed out on all of us being like, but look what we got. Like we got that. And it's really precious. You get to keep something that they give to you, and you don't have to go through that exact hard thing again. So anyway, that was just so, it was just so sweet to me. So sweet that they're able to do that together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of new information for our listeners. Because I think the only time that you guys were still together during this podcast was the very, very first recording we did.
Very first episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, has that been about a year and a half? Almost?
Yeah.
September to September.
Yeah.
To January.
Yeah, it's been an incredibly, to feel, I wrote this fake bio that we should probably at some point put in of like, because she's asking me to give a bio. And I'm like, I'm a marriage and family therapist. My kids were disasters. My marriage was falling apart. I was like, this is so funny. This is so funny. So to be in a place in my life where everything that I thought I knew, all the things that I was going to do the right way and that I was going to do differently than anybody else, and then just to have to watch myself, this isn't the truth, but to watch myself like this is such a joke that I've helped anyone with their
Right.
kids or their family. But to have this chance to come back here and remember, no, I know these things. I've lived these things. It's given me this thread of I still know who I am. I still like to have a space where I could be an expert has been priceless and also hilarious. It's been a generous gift of the universe and you all to be like, let's hold this little space. Yep, she's really good with 3-year-olds. Let's stay here. Let's stay here.
Just the 3-year-olds,
Yep.
and then we're gonna then cut.
Yeah, well, we've been very grateful. As have our listeners.
Of course.
As is apparent with Caroline.
Well, I do want to say I don't know everything I did right or wrong in parenting, right? Like, how do we ever know? I still think you should interview the kids someday because probably the things I think I did the best, they're like, I wish you wouldn't have done that. That messed me up forever. And something I accidentally did one time meant something to them. But I am 100% sure that if it is possible, if there's any way to teach or participate in your kid's life that develops resilience in them, that is it. That is it. And watching the resilience. So I don't know how my kids developed resilience. I don't know what happened or how that was. But watching them through this process of certainly probably the first real trauma they've ever had in their lives. And irony of all ironies, I'm the one who caused it consciously and intentionally. Like, that's insane to spend their entire lifetime doing everything I could to keep them from suffering and then to be the source of that suffering. Or my choices be the source of that suffering was just, it's sort of blown us all out of the water. But all that to say, their resilience is everything. It's everything. They don't need anything else. None of our kids need anything else. None of us need anything else but resilience. Like, can we come back? Can we come back from, have we talked about this? Like, the trauma, that every trauma has a gift. Like, every trauma is there. It has something that it gives to us. And that thing it gives to us is what ultimately makes us not just who we are, but able to see and live the way that we want to live. There's a term for it. Do I don't know what it is? I'll find that. Avery just taught me about it. And I was
Chestnut?
A pearl.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, it's like it's actually the other side of a trauma bond. It's like, anyway, I'll find out and I'll get back to you.
Oh, yeah, I want to know. Momcult, have you washed your car yet in 2023? Better yet, have you vacuumed the back seat of your car in 2023? I don't know if you visited Camel Express before, but they have crazy high-powered vacuums that are stronger than any vacuum I've used, and they're free. For a limited time, you can get a Best Wash that's a $25 value free. You just text Momcult to 30400, and you get a free $25 car wash texted to your phone. That's Momcult, one word, to 30400. Visit camelexpress.com to find your Camel, the one nearest you. Get over there and wash off the grime of 2022 today.
So, what else?
She talked so much about anger, just the anger issues that our children bring out in us, and expectations, or like just with that anger hits when they are not meeting an expectation that you feel we should be on the same page about, and just the immediate rage that is felt when those two things butt heads.
Yeah, and I love that she was distinguishing it, because I don't know, because she does her whole class on feelings, so she does a whole thing on anger. She understands healthy anger, right? She's like, yeah, it's not that.
I love that anger. I wish I had more of that anger.
That anger feels like adult. Well, of course, the questions are always the same. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And I think it's hard for me to remember. I can remember being angry at my kids. I remember that feeling. What I can't remember is like, what was going on in me? Like what was going on in my life? So, which is very hard to do when you're in those moments. But one, just don't be afraid of space. Don't be afraid of space. What I do know I still struggle with is that I do have a super high capacity for a lot of stress or difficulty or hard conversations. And I will I will stay present to something, like 1,000% present for a really long time. And I can do that. What I realize is when I start having that, like, oh, I went too far. Like, or this is my sign. This is my sign that I've got to go lock myself in my room, or I need to go eat, or I just need space. I need space from this person because I'm feeling flooded by their needs. And so I would say anytime that any of us, it doesn't matter if it's crying or anger, just any of that kind of quick reactive emotion, that if you have the capacity to say, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? And answer that question, the reason you're having that reaction is because there's some basic actual need that is not being met.
So you are where I heard that, I guess. Is it anger is the response to an unmet need? Is that you? Did you say that? Or is that just like common?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't know why I asked that. But the point is, that's always the case. Like that's always an answerable question.
Yeah. Because when you are getting your needs met, and this isn't like I had my girl time. Like I'm talking like real basic needs. When you're not getting those met, that's when we misbehave. That's the same is true with our kids, right? It's okay. You weren't getting enough attention. You weren't getting enough food. Or you had too much of something else that one of the biggest things we suffer from culturally is we have so much of what we want and so little of what we need. So that I was back to the Chamber of Commerce conversation. I told them one of the number one things we're having to talk about in therapy now that we've never had to talk about before are you eating? Are you sleeping? Are you getting enough water? Are you moving? So and I am not meaning to bring this all back to the digital conversation, but part of what happens is when we spend however many hours we have to spend on screens, right? For fun, for work, for whatever, we fail to meet a tremendous amount of human needs and screen time. We're just not doing it. So we're not breathing the right way. We're not looking around, giving our eyes the chance to exercise peripheral vision. Like there's all these little pieces. And so a lot of times part of the whole thing we talk about in media trauma is so many people suffering from post-traumatic stress symptoms because their basic needs are being neglected because we now see every need being met through our screens.
Right.
That makes sense. So any energy and effort we can put into, so when we start seeing those symptoms, that's like, get off your screen, look in your real world and see what it is you need. Do you need to do laundry? There's nothing more infuriating than looking for a clean pair of underwear when you're running late on an appointment. There are these things that all of a sudden start. It's stupid. It's just laundry. But that does end up being something that will make you really upset or angry if it becomes a stress in your life. And you can't do laundry at the same time that you're on Instagram.
What if my need is to not be needed?
Right. So what if it is? Good question. What are your choices?
But I get annoyed when she needs a meal.
So if you need to not be needed, then what are your options?
I don't know. Tell me.
So one of the things that I feel like has happened to everybody is when we don't want to be needed, we get on our phones, right? And that's a way to escape. So good, I can go into this place and I feel like I've gotten a break. It's like a way of giving ourselves a break from our reality, right? When we don't want this to be our reality. The problem is it's not getting our needs met.
Right.
So if you went and got in the bath or shut yourself in your bedroom or went outside for the same amount, you would spend 20 minutes on Instagram because you don't want to input off dinner. That's a no-brainer. But as soon as we're go take a bath, you're like, well, I can't take that time. You took the time. You're taking the time. You're doing it. You're just not doing it for something that's actually giving you what you need.
It's going to help.
So when you feel that way, look at her and say, I need to go figure out what I need. Can you give me 20 minutes? And go not be needed for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Usually I'm just go make it yourself.
Hey, I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah. I really am an advocate, though, for her. I want her to be
self-sufficient.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. She can make eggs.
Yes.
She can make ramen. She's pretty good at doing stuff on her own. I'll feel guilty about it.
Never.
sometimes. But then I'm like, I think later in life she'll thank me that I wasn't just like doing everything. For her.
She won't thank you. She'll just actually be able to do things for herself.
I think that's great. I do.
She'll thank you with her life. That was a really weird thing about having the kids home. My kids always did everything for themselves, and my goal in life was to make them independent. But here they are back home, their first Christmas without Adam, and I am like, for the first time ever,
What do you need? What can
really care. Like, I made them breakfast every morning. I did things that I've never done for them in their entire life, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, I just want them to like feel so loved and so. But then I really resented it because I hate doing that shit for my kids. Like if it's like, oh, you're a guest in my house, it's like warning one, but it was 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and it
2
was like
weeks
2
is a little different.
I just want to make myself my own food and go into my room. And that's actually a super fascinating conversation I had with myself. This is the first time that my kids' needs were not, even though I said I did those things, which is true, I did, but I was really overcompensating because this is the first time I was consciously not making them 100% the center of my world when they were there. Mm-hmm. And it was one, I didn't want to. Like I didn't, kind of like you were saying, every time they were home, I didn't find myself like, oh, I just want to sit down and talk to you more. Like we did that and that was fun, but I didn't want to do that for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But I was realizing this is the first time they've been in my life where I have a whole other life and I have other needs and they're both going to go away again. And I was like, I'm not putting all of that on hold. Like we're going to have to figure out how to integrate this stuff. Like it's not just I get to take care of myself when they're not around.
Right.
And so there were lots of times that I went and, did other things. And, that was really hard on both of my kids because they're used to being, especially Avery, is used to being the center of my attention whenever she's with me. And like we had to talk about it. And she was like, I feel like I need more of your attention. And I was like, okay. And I'm going to do better about giving you more of my attention. And I'm not giving you all of my attention. So that was probably my first, whatever this new phase of parenting is with my kids being adults. I think it would happen whether we were divorced or not. Mm-hmm. That was my first, like, okay, I am choosing to give my kids less. And I honestly don't know. This is probably the first time I've felt motivated by what I needed instead of by what they needed. Because even though I wanted my kids to be independent, I knew it was for their best all the time. I have no idea if this is for their best or not at this point. It's almost like I could feel myself, well, I don't really know that. But what I do know is they need to know that I'm not always there, like that I'm not always available and that their needs aren't. It's not just that I don't want to, but that is true. I don't want to. It's that I'm seeing I don't have what you need.
Right.
It's not for me to give you. Their friends are now. That's an important time for your friends to become your emergency contact. Mm-hmm. Not because your mom doesn't want to help you, but because you need to know how to lean on other people that's not your mom. Like, right. That's important.
It's the cycle of marriage.
Right, exactly.
I don't know what the best time to get divorced is either, and I don't know.
Just you're trying to wait and figure it out.
I don't know. No, not for myself. I don't know. I don't know if it's when your kid is 3 or if it's 20 and 22, but like 18 to 22 are so vivid for me. Such a big pivotal time, and it is, I think, for so many people, because my parents got divorced when I was like 32 or whatever. I think it would have been optimal for me if it had been when I was like 20 or 22, because then it would be like...
There's so much other change happening in your life too, so it's almost like you can just...
Mm-hmm. And it's like the time for you to like spread your wings and fly and really be pushed out of the nest. And there's really no better way for you to
it's exactly
face the truth. Face the music than your parents getting divorced.
There is no nest. The nest is gone.
Burn that nest.
Go find a new nest.
Yeah. Well, it's true. And that I was watching that happen to my kids, of like we had become such a safe space. And I was watching them not thrive, not like... And they really did think that I was perfect. Like, they didn't think I was a perfect person. Like, I knew I was flawed, but in terms of like I was perfect to them. And Adam and I together also, but specifically, like, I was just this constant source. Like, she always knows, and what she knows is right, and they just had such a deep respect for me. But really, I was between them and them meeting life. Mm-hmm. And when I asked for the separation, it was like, oh my God, my mom like doesn't know anything, or it was just like this huge loss of, I've believed in you and I wanted to live like you and I wanted to be you when I grew up, and I don't want to be you anymore. And I don't like watching what that did to them. It was like, and then they're figuring out who they are and who they want to be and what they're going to find. And they're seeking out other sources of wisdom. And it's like, damn, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of us needed me to, the little statue of me to get taken down,
Yeah. That exact thing, yeah, when you're like 35 is not to just browbeat my parents. I mean, you did the best, I'm just saying. It would have been better a little earlier. Yeah, no, so I think maybe that is, the perfect time. Or when they're too young, really, really young. Either way, either of those is the perfect time.
Right.
Or whenever you guys did it.
Whenever you did it, it was the perfect time.
I think this is the first after the episode where we just talk to the person who was here. This is just for you. We're actually just going to send you this episode, Caroline. But I do. I want to be like Caroline when I grow up. I'm really amazed at what she does and who she is, and I love that she was a guest.
Well, you guys will have to hook up at Honest Roasters sometime.
And we will. See you at Honest, Caroline. I either have really, really curly hair or I don't. Oh, wait. The Gab phone. Have we talked about the Gab phone?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so was that my first favorite thing?
I don't know if it was on a favorite things, but I know we've
I don't
talked about
remember.
I'm going to feature it as a favorite thing specifically. And I'm actually just about to get an affiliate number from them. So like
What does that mean?
We don't
It
know what
means
that
that
means.
anyone who orders the phone through like whatever website I give them, I get money off of it.
Oh,
and I've been selling this phone forever. Like they give them away for free a lot too. So depending on what specials they're running, it's free to $120 to buy the phone, and then it's $20 a month for, service. And it is made for kids. It's the safest phone on the market. It's also very user friendly. So it functions similarly to an iPhone in that it's easy, talking, texting. It is such a great phone, and it is I can't even imagine considering getting any other phone for your kid when you can get this. And we probably need to do a whole episode just about this because it's become a really big part of my life and the work that I've been doing. So anyway, Gab phone. That is, for right now, I'll just say it's my favorite thing for you to buy for your kids.
How old?
It doesn't matter.
Wow, the one thing that doesn't matter.
Like, it's such that's why it's so brilliant, right? It's a thing they can only use to the level they can do something developmentally. Mm. That's why it doesn't matter when you give it to them. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that is my favorite thing.
Cool.
Today.
Love it.
Today.
Just today.
You can follow Joy at Tiffica or me at Sarah Parker Massey with whatever. Just figure it out. It's on our. Okay, I'll do better. I don't know. Maybe I won't. And please rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. I don't know how to say that, but just where you can write a review, do that. And hopefully it's good with as many stars as allowable. And Jenny, you can get Jenny's book on Amazon or wherever.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And then
it's called Our Digital Soul, but you can look, my website's jennywiseblack.com, and that you can get the book from there too.
It's linked there. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.